What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So yes, today we are going to talk about a new $8,000 per year tax credit. We're also going to jump into a little bit of the infrastructure update, talk about a potential gas tax increase, and we're going to dive into some unemployment and a little bit of the eviction protection. So that's what we're going to discuss in today's video. Hopefully you guys are having an incredible Tuesday so far. If you are, make sure you hit that like button so I know you're having a great day, and also it just helps out the channel. Consider subscribing so that I can keep you updated as well. But let's jump into the update for today. First, the $8,000 per year proposal. Again, this is a proposal. This is a proposal by a House Democrat named Gwen Moore. Now, remember when I told you a while back, and I've been telling you this for months, that all expectations are we are going to see stimulus. It's going to be disguised behind something. So all the money that we're going to get, right? And I do believe there's going to be money that we, the American people, do receive as direct payments. The problem here is it won't be talked and called stimulus. That's not what it's going to be called coming from Congress. However, I'm going to continue to call it stimulus because that's exactly what it is. But for Congress, for Democrats, stimulus just has a kind of bad name to it right now, being that the economy is doing so well, at least according to reports. Well, the upper class, the middle income earners, they're doing well. The lower income earners, they're still struggling, right? Here's what we know. Right now, what we are seeing is that Democrats are planning to pass additional stimulus, but they will disguise it. The bill it's called the Worker Relief and Credit Reform Act by Gwen Moore. This bill, first, this is just going to replace the earned income tax credit. That's all the bill is essentially going to do. We are still going to get an earned income tax credit, but it's going to change. The point of this bill is the purpose is really just to increase the amount that people will get per year up to $8,000 per household, and it's going to increase the maximum amount of money people can earn that year and still qualify. Just to give you an idea, if a person makes under $53,865 per year and they have 2 children, the IRS gives you $5,980 per year as an earned income tax credit. Now, I'm not going to go over all the numbers, but that's, again, a person, $53,865 with 2 children. That is a pretty normal household, or a normal family is somebody with 2 children, and that's a pretty good income, $53,000. So, all I want you to understand right now is that is a proposal that's being discussed, but lawmakers at this time are just looking for different ways to provide additional income to the American people, however they can get it to us. That's the goal, and this is mainly coming from Democrats. Now, stimulus is one of those topics that right now many moderates are on edge about because they say we don't need it, and they say, why give additional stimulus when the U.S. government is struggling, right? The U.S. government, we only have 2 additional months of funds pretty much in our reserves, and then we run out of money. That's not great. I got more on that in just a minute. But right now, reports are indicating that Democrats must find a different approach to send out payments. A stimulus check just will not work. Again, I'm going to continue to call it stimulus checks because that's essentially what it is. Now, what lawmakers call it, that's on them. But in order to not confuse you, this is essentially just a stimulus check. But this is one of the reasons why tax credits at this time, according to many experts, are the most common proposal. And they will be the most common proposal as we move forward. That being said, what we do know is a lot of the additional stimulus, money that we've been seeing, unemployment, the rental assistance, nutrition assistance, the money for student borrowers, right? That's going to be expiring in like 2 months. There's a lot of these things that are starting to expire, and it's because of that more proposals are coming out just as quickly. And as we get those updates, I promise I'll bring you those reports as well. What we know based around stimulus and additional relief is that 7.5 million Americans are going to be collecting unemployment from now until right about September 6th. On September 6th, that is when all the unemployment from the federal level expires. That $300 per week boost, that expires on September 6th. That's a little bit over 1 month away. And in the majority of states, just to give you an idea, that $300 per week boost in most cases is more than the average amount of the state weekly benefits. In California, I think it's like $305 per week or something like that. So in California, which gets paid $14 per hour as the federal minimum wage, they're getting paid a little bit over the federal boost of $300 per week. That is the average. But in other states, especially in the South, $300 is a lot. Most are getting paid $150 to $200 per week. So it's going to be a drastic change once this $300 per week boost actually ends. And as for those 26 states that did cancel their unemployment benefits, pretty much all Republican states, and except for one Democratic state, well, what we know is those states are actually seeing a boost in hiring. And continuing unemployment rate is down in those states by 8%. However, in states that are continuing to pay this $300 per week federal boost and pandemic unemployment assistance, well, continuing unemployment rate for them is actually up 3%. So we are seeing a difference in 11%. That is huge. And this is one of the reasons why some Republicans are saying that Democrats should have listened. The economy would be much better if Democrats just followed what Republicans did and got rid of unemployment a little bit early. But just so that a lot of you know, Democratic states are not planning to cancel this benefit 1 month early. They will watch this, they will see it out, and it will cancel and expire on September 6th. According to all reports right now, the White House is not expected to extend this. They are not really even discussing this because they are saying the economy is bouncing back, people are getting the vaccine, people are going back to work, and things are good. Whether or not they actually are, well, that's up for another discussion on a different video. Also, the U.S. government has about 2 months worth of funds left in their reserve. If Congress can't get their debt ceiling figured out, then the Federal Reserve can't give the government any more money. What I can tell you is that since Congress has not done anything for this, Janet Yellen has stated today that the Treasury will stop payments. They will stop payments to multiple retirement funds. So just keep that in mind. She also stated that the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package and the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill will most likely complicate the budget even further. So if these both pass, let's say this week, they are going to further complicate this. Chances are we would have run out of money much sooner than October 1st, according to Janet Yellen. And after these statements made by Janet Yellen, we heard from multiple experts, and many experts are saying that moderates are most likely going to reject the $1.2 trillion bill and the $3.5 trillion infrastructure package as they stand now because they are going to try to get a cheaper infrastructure bill in order to avoid this. Now, that makes things very scary. That makes things extremely scary right now because, for one, the House is already on recess. They don't come back until September 20th. Okay, September 20th. They got like a month and a half off. That's huge. But what we are going to see from this $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, that we don't know. The Senate's trying to get this done as quickly as possible. They want to get this passed this week. But according to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, he has stated that he doesn't want to hurry the process. He stated that he wants everything to be considered and he isn't interested in passing a bill just because Democrats want to move this along for political purposes, which is essentially what they're trying to do. Now, not saying that this bill should not be passed. The bipartisan bill should be passed. However, it should be fully funded. We can't afford to go into a deeper deficit, even though some say it makes sense to deficit spend because this will bring back even more money than we're going to spend on it. Well, that's probably true, but at the same time, probably true and it's a for sure thing. Well, that's not the way lawmakers should be working. What I can tell you right now is that if this $1.2 trillion infrastructure package doesn't pass by August 9th, that is a week from yesterday. If it doesn't pass by August 9th, then potentially we will have to wait and see what happens after September 13th. That is when the Senate will come back to Washington. What I can tell you is that Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has stated the Senate would stay in Washington until both of these bills are passed, but really that does them absolutely no good because the House is away. The House isn't there. They're not going to pass these bills. So just because the Senate doesn't mean the House is going to do anything, because Nancy Pelosi stated today that the House is not coming back in session. She also said that anything that must be done, for example, eviction protections, well, this needs to be pushed by the CDC and the White House unilaterally. That the House of Representatives will not take part in this because, well, for one, they're on recess. They got other things going on as well. But according to multiple reports this afternoon, they are saying that the White House is expected to issue a new targeted eviction moratorium. Let me just explain what the reports are on. First, this will most likely only impact and protect those that are living in federally backed loans. So, just to give you an idea, chances are this is going to be more single-family homes, probably not going to be large apartment complexes. So if you do live in an apartment complex, chances are you may not be protected. Okay, so really all this is going to do, and the way this is targeted, is the federal government or the White House is potentially just going to protect landlords like you and I. Right? We have, let's say, a handful of properties, one little rental property on the side, kind of use it for retirement or stuff like that. That's who they're ultimately going to protect. They're not going to protect these big businesses, large corporations that have, 1,000 different units. That's not who they're trying to protect. They're trying to protect the small, mom and pop, renters or landlords. That's who they want to protect, right? Because those are the ones that are seeing, well, hey, you got to pay your rent, because if you don't pay your rent, I can't pay my mortgage on my home, and I also can't pay the property taxes on either one of the homes, and I'm ultimately going to lose both. And so that's what we're seeing, and that's what we're kind of hearing at this time. But as I know more there, I promise I will fill you in on that update, because I know a lot of you guys are extremely worried about what's going to happen with the eviction protections. Are we going to see an additional moratorium, or are we going to see an eviction crisis on our hands within days? The last thing I just want to address is we could potentially be seeing a gas tax coming. There are a lot of talks about a potential gas tax floating around. What we are hearing is that right now the purpose of this gas tax is essentially just to make sure the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill is fully funded. President Biden has been opposed to this ever since the beginning. He says anybody making less than $400,000 per year should not have to pay a penny more in taxes. However, what we're hearing is that Democrats are actually proposing, and they are open to the idea of a gas tax, a per mile fee that you would have to pay. Now, this would essentially just go into what it costs for a gallon of gas. But what we're also hearing is that we can't increase the gas tax for people that have cars that run off gasoline, when we aren't going to increase taxes on people that have an electric vehicle. So we will see what happens there, but as of right now, there's a lot of talks. There's a lot of speculation as to what's going to happen. Even lawmakers right now don't realize or don't really understand what's going to happen, because there's so many different pieces to the puzzle, and the majority of lawmakers, especially in the House, have had absolutely no say what is in this $1.2 trillion bill. So as I know more, I promise I will share more. Just want to keep you updated on what's been going on so far today. If you have any questions, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.